strikes 12. It's prime time for Midnight Madness.
It's quarter to 12. I just got a strange feeling. Spooky nights, creepy lights, it's midnight madness. It's midnight madness.
Midnight Madness. Yeah. Yeah.
Got this midnight madness. Caught in the middle of midnight madness. You've got the midnight madness. You're gonna get it, the midnight madness. You're gonna get it, the midnight madness. You're gonna get it, the midnight madness. You're gonna get it.
And now the Midnight Madness Show, where it's always sunny and 82 degrees. Here's your host, the DJ Doctor.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you, DJ Doctor.
Another golden nugget email. Not important. I'm sitting at the computer here.
Hey, I appreciate that.
I think this place is going mad, really mad.
All right. Jason, the hip of the heart throb, why don't you take it away and introduce who our guest is?
We have a great guest on the phone tonight, Mr. Joey Wells from the Bill Haley's Comets.
Yeah. How you doing, Joey?
Hard to believe, huh, Jason?
That's right. I'm glad you're here with us tonight.
Thank you. You're an awfully young guy to be interested in what we did, but what we did back in the day was an inspiration to everybody, including me. And I guess we got credit for starting rock and roll, which I'm glad it happened because I've devoted my life to rock and roll.
Right. Now, how many years were you with Bill?
Well, we're still together, and I guess my agent, Tommy Vail, talked to you a little bit. If you want to chronologically go back to the beginning, I actually, as a teenager, met Bill in '53 for the first time, and I hung out, and I became the roadie for the group when they came to my hometown of Baltimore. And then in 1955, I had my first band, the J-Rockers, and we were the opening act for Bill Haley at the Dixie Ballroom. And Rudy Pompelli at the time was telling Bill, look at that little blonde-haired kid play the piano. And Bill would say, yeah, he's pretty good, but he's too young. And I always said I wanted to be a Comet, but he would always say, well, that's great, Joey, but pick up my guitar and help us load the truck. We got a gig up the road. Excuse me. So I became a roadie first, and then I joined actually in the Army. I was at the Armed Forces Radio Network in Berlin and on duty in Frankfurt for 2 weeks to record Bill Haley's Comets when they came over for the Service Club tour. And that was the first time that I actually recorded with them. I was on a couple of the tunes, Honky Tonk, Shake, Rattle, and Roll. And we put that out, later, many years later, with a German label called Bill Haley on the radio, and I was a co-producer of that. And that's when I went with Bill. He had many guitar players, but he only had a few piano players, and I'm one of the few. The guy that I replaced was the original keyboard player. He was an accordion player by the name of Johnny Grandi, and I took his place in 1962. Then when I got out of the Army, I joined the Comets, and our first tour was in Canada. And there's an awful lot to tell you about the early days. I don't know if I'm going to bore you or your audience, but I do have a Beatles story to tell you.
Please, please.
Okay, well, we were the opening act. I mean, the Beatles were the opening act at the Star Club in Hamburg, Germany. This was while I was still in the Army, and I was there. And it was funny that the Comets, being older than I, 12, Bill was actually 15 years older than me. I'm the youngest of the Comets at 77 today. But the point is, I was really into the Comets, and I was very open and, proud about being part of the group. So we met a group called the Silver Beatles that were the opening act for us at the Star Club. Bill and the Comets said those guys will never amount to anything. They're just long-haired guys from England giving us back our American rock and roll with an English accent. And that's exactly what they were doing. They were singing Little Richard tunes and Chuck Berry tunes. This was in '62. So I hung out with them. I thought they were cool. The other Comets didn't pay any attention to them, but I remember John Lennon asking me, Joey, we want to come to America. Oh, what do you think of our 9 Silver Beatles? I said, John, I never saw a Silver Beetle. They're green and gold. And we don't like the bugs anyway. No matter what color they are, we stomp on them. And he said, no, Joey, it's a Beetle. Beatle. I said, oh, John, that's good. Keep the beat in there and drop the silver, and you'll be okay. And so that's when I said, I'm suspecting he went back to Sir Paul McCartney and said, I was hanging out with Joey Wells from the Comets, and Joey says we don't need silver in our name, just keep the beat in there. And so I wasn't there, but I suppose he used his favorite term. Paul said, brilliant, will be the Beatles.
You changed the world.
Maybe I had something to do with naming the Beatles. Who knows?
Brilliant.
That's great. That's absolutely wonderful.
He changed the world.
That's right.
Well, what makes it wonderful is the fact that it's true.
Right, exactly. Joey, that's some great stories. I'm glad that you're part of the show today. Why don't we go ahead and play one of the songs real quick? Brian, do you have the emails I sent you with the songs, sir?
I do. Just been battling with this.
You have the videos.
connection
I think
problem.
Tommy sent you over.
Yeah, I'm just.
Concert recently. Ever since Bill Haley passed in '81, I've been the vocalist with the group.
Right.
And it's under the direction of Rappa, who's the original Comet with us. And I also, we'll talk about the new recording of Rock Around the Clock. What are you going to play? I'll tell you a little bit about the song.
As soon as I find out from Brian if he found those MP3s, we'll know which one we're going to play.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm looking for him.
We had probably 18 gold records on Decca, and then we went to Warner Brothers and didn't have any big hits on Warner Brothers, but had some great music. And then it was a lot of smaller labels. One of the songs that I wrote with the Comets after Bill Haley died was a tune called The Hawk Talks, featuring Franny Beecher. And it was an instrumental of all the solos that Franny did on our records. And then I wrote the A-side as well with Al Rappa and myself. It was called Bring Back the Music. And that was on the Music City label.
Joey, I have a question.
There's a lot of a lot of music in between.
I have a question for you. You were talking about the Decca record label, and there was a song that I have on a 45 of the Comets called Joey's Song. Is that any inspiration from you?
Yes, I know. They really liked me. I was like a mascot. I was really young. I don't know exactly how it happened, but I think with this story I got, Rudy said, let's do a song for Joey. I mean, I didn't have anything to do with writing it, but I think maybe I might have been the inspiration for it. And in one of my instrumental albums years later, of course, I recorded it too. But it was written by Reisman, a gentleman by the name of Reisman. And of course, Rudy did the arrangement on it with Franny Beecher. So anyway, maybe I'm the Joey. I hope I am anyway.
That's a great story. Brian, did you find those MP3s?
I found a few.
I'm sorry?
Found a few.
Okay. Play one for us. Which one are you going to play?
How about Razzle Dazzle?
Razzle Dazzle?
Okay, that's 1956, and I do that in our new video with the Comets. That's a good one.
All right, let's play that real quick. Stick around, Joey. We got some more to talk to you about.
Okay, brother. So it'll be about 3.5 minutes for Razzle Dazzle, and I'll come back and talk to me.
Okay.
How do you like it so far?
You sound good. Your voice is good.
Well, thank you, baby. So is yours.
All right, Razzle Dazzle.
Joey, this is Mark from another one.
Yeah, that was the name of a dance that we came up with.
Oh, it's a dance?
It was actually a dance, yeah. Razzle Dazzle was a dance. Get on your mark, get ready, get set, go. Everybody razzle dazzle.
I've never heard of that dance. That's something new to me.
Well, Razzle Dazzle was the name of the dance.
Right. Well, that's cool.
So anyway,
Well, that's awesome, Joey.
grab your baby. Baby 1, 2, 3. Jump into the center, just you and me. And everybody's shaking it free, razzle dazzle. It's just about people shaking it up on the dance floor, really.
That's excellent. Now, Joey, before you were with Bill Haley and the Comets, who were you listening to at the time? What artist or band?
Did you hear the question, Joey?
No, I didn't.
Who was some of your influences before Bill Haley?
Well, I started playing piano at 5 years old, and I used to my father used to buy me 45s, one a week, of the early rhythm and blues songs. And one of the great artists that I listened to early on was Fats Domino. And Fats Domino, of course, had Blueberry Hill, Ain't That a Shame, and I'm Walking, and so forth. And I used to, as a young teenager, play the songs beside the piano and learn how to play the riffs. And the boogie woogie riffs on my left hand is what set me apart from a lot of the other piano players, and actually was what I formulated, learning to split the left hand boogie woogie into different riffs that were used in rock and roll. So my inspiration first, of course, was Ray Charles, and Fats Domino, and then, of course, I graduated to Ray Charles, who brought the jazz element to rock and roll. And, of course, like everybody else, I have to say that I was inspired by the original Comets before I was actually a Comet. As you know, I was close to the Comets. I hung out with them. I got to know them. The first round of Comets that cut rock around the clock was a Marshall Lytle on bass and Joey D'Ambrosia on the sax. The steel guitar player was Billy Williamson. And, of course, Haley was playing rhythm guitar. And I really learned a lot and respect the original Comets. That's who they were, that did the original, music. Franny Beecher on guitar, by the way, a great gentleman as well as a great player. And I had the occasion later on, as I got older, to actually record with Franny Beecher and Al Rappa and Ralph Jones, who was the drummer. When after Bill Haley died, I put the Comets together and we went to Tom Snyder's show in New York. It was called The Tomorrow Show. And I arranged a medley of 5 of Bill's songs. And I had the honor of doing it with those Comets. And it was a eulogy for Bill, where I sang Rock Around the Clock, Rockabye, Boogie, Shake, Rattle and Roll, Razzle Dazzle. And I believe Crazy Man Crazy, which, by the way, was the first big hit before Rock Around the Clock. So I know I'm running on with this information, and I hope you don't mind me talking so much, but I'm just delighted that someone in your audiences as well are interested that much in our history, and I'm very glad to share it with you.
No, we're glad to have you a part of our show. This is what we want, and the young listeners.
I didn't hear that.
This is what we wanted, Joey, is all your stories and your history. This stuff is what our listeners like to hear. We have a great time hearing the classics and the history. Let's go back to your Beatles. Now, when you were talking about the Silver Beatles, now you're talking back, Stuart Sutcliffe was still with them. Pete Best probably was still with them. Is that how far back that goes?
Well, yeah, except for on the last trip, Peter Best left, if you recall.
And then picked up Ringo.
And, it was Ringo, yeah. And Ringo and I still maintain a friendship. I have a picture of Ringo and I together, and he was the most friendly of the group. As you know, George was sort of shy and withdrawn, quiet. Mm-hmm. John Lennon was very much of a instigator. He kind of liked to pull practical jokes on people, and Paul was really the brains behind the whole thing. Each one of them had an individual gift that when you put it together, it was dynamite. That you'll never have another group like the Beatles,
I totally agree.
They were an influence to me too. As a matter of fact, I did an album and recorded a lot of the Beatles instrumentals on one of my keyboard albums. I've done several instrumental albums as a pianist. I've made over 105 albums in my 60 years.
Oh, wow.
I started at 15. My first record was actually an instrumental called The Jitterbug Rock in 1955. And I continued to put out records every year consecutively from 1955 to this year, 2017. 105 albums, 75 45s, and over 2,000 songs. I never missed a year, and I got an award last year for being the only artist in the history of rock and roll to have achieved that goal of making new music and releasing new music every year consecutively for 62 years. So I got a Lifetime Achievement Award for that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, going back to the Comets, now, I'm almost in my 60s, so Bill Haley was still just a little bit ahead of me. The Beatles is what got me influenced in music, and thank you for changing the whole Beatles thing for us.
Yeah, but the Beatles were influenced by us. They told us that, and
right.
John Lennon said if it hadn't been for Rock Around the Clock, he would have never picked up a guitar.
Right.
So Bill Haley was an inspiration to a lot of the English groups.
Yep. Now, you were talking about the don't know what that noise is, but we got a weird noise over the speaker.
I don't know what that was.
You still hear that, Joe? It's coming across our end too here. I don't know if we got a bad cord or something, but bear with us. We'll try to figure it out. But
Either that, or I'll call you. I'll call you back, or you can call me back. I can give you my number real quick in case something happens.
there we go. We got it. We fixed it. It was on our end. But
Okay.
now, Freddie Beecher, I've always thought he was an underrated guitar player. I thought he was a phenomenal guitar player. I don't think he got the credit that
Phenomenal. He came up with a lot of the solo riffs, and of course he did a wonderful job when we did live shows all the way through. Even when I was with the group, he would play the great solo and Rock Around the Clock. But I want to tell you and the listeners, it wasn't Franny on the record in 1954 when it was recorded. It was a guitar player by the name of Danny Cendrone that did that
wow.
great solo, and he died a few weeks after that. He never lived to see how great that Rock Around the Clock became, but
Oh, wow.
Danny Cendrone was the one that created that great solo.
Wow, no, I did not know that. I did not know that. I thought Freddie Beecher was on that. So
Well, he was on a lot of our recordings later, but I'm talking
Right.
about the original first release of rock and roll that became the soundtrack for Blackboard Jungle. That was Danny Cendrone.
Wow.
I have a question. Did he perform with Bill Haley and the group when they were on the Ed Sullivan Show, which was Toast of the Town, and I think that was August 7th of 1955 when they performed
No,
on that?
he didn't perform live with the group, but he was on some of our early sessions. He was also the guitarist on Rock the Joint.
Okay.
And he used the same solo that he did on Rock the Joint, which only sold 100,000 copies. It wasn't a million seller. And so it was such a great solo that our producer, which was Milt Gabler for Decca Records, said, why don't you do that thing that you did on Rock the Joint for the solo of Rock Around the Clock? You know, wow, you know, what a great solo that was. And Freddie plays it so well, and he's played it on everything we did, except I just want to be honest that he wasn't the originator of that solo. It was Danny Cendrone.
Well, you know, one thing that I found fascinating was, you know, looking back, and when I was little, I used to have a record player, and I would actually dance Rocking Around the Clock. My grandmother and family would laugh at me. You know, I loved the music, but Western swing had such an influence on Bill Haley, and from my understanding, he was an exceptional yodeler. So to come from that extreme to rockabilly music itself, it was amazing. You know, how the group all together with the different people that could vocally sing and just take on a different style of music and bring it to America, you know. And
Bill always gave credit to Western swing. As a matter of fact, as you say, he had a career as a yodeler, and he made many country records before he broke through. And the experiment that he did with the country music, they didn't have a name for it. What he was playing was, they called it race music, which was a black rhythm and blues. He was playing race music as a country singer, and he added a sax and a drummer. Nobody ever heard of doing that in country music, and it actually became rockabilly music, and he didn't know what he was doing, but the ingredients to that music is what actually yielded eventually Alan Freed calling it rock and roll. And I just want to say one other thing about the rockabilly music that Bill Haley made back in the early 50s. It was on the Essex label, and some of the records were Rocket 88, Crazy Man Crazy, Rock the Joint, Fractured, Mulberry, Rocking Around the Mulberry Bush, Dance with a Dolly with a Holder Sock, and songs like that. Of course, I was just a kid too, but I heard these records, and I knew something was up because he was influenced and even sounded a little bit country, but he was doing rock and roll before it was called rock and roll.
one other individual that really admired the group, and I noticed that there is a picture of Elvis with Bill Haley, and young Elvis actually looked up to Bill Haley, and I know at that time, he was a little bit older, probably in his 30s. Were you with him when he met with Elvis?
No, that was in the 50s.
Okay.
I didn't. I mean, I was around and all, but I was a hanger-on. I was actually too young. I was in school, and Haley said, we'll call you when you get older, Joey. I mean, they always knew about my piano playing, and it was Rudy Pompelli now Rappa who bugged Bill Haley until I finally joined when I got out of the Army. But what you're talking about, those days from 54 when Rock Around the Clock first was recorded to 1960, that's when he actually, he met Elvis, I believe, when Elvis was in the Army, was in 61, wasn't it?
Yeah. I believe so.
I wasn't with them. I wasn't with them, but boy, I wish I was.
Yeah. Well, it seems as though you're around some other really influential people. I mean, the Beatles. I mean, that's it. I mean, the story that you had earlier, that was amazing. I mean, you're with these guys before America really even discovered them. I mean,
Right.
You're hanging out with them.
One more little. You have one little more Beatles story. I think you got another minute. I'll give you one more Beatles story.
Yes, go right ahead. That's awesome.
They were playing at the Top 10 Club in Hamburg while we were at the Star Club. I was still in the Army at the time, and I used to go down to the Top 10 Club and hang with them. And Paul, I believe it was Paul, said, Joey, would you like to sit in with us? They were really in awe of the fact that I was hanging with them because they were fanatically, impressed with Bill Haley's comments. And I was just new and I was young, but I was the same age they were then, and I'm the same age as they are now. But to make a long story short, I thought they were cool, so I spent time hanging out. And they were down there doing some things in the afternoon at one of the clubs and asked me to sit in. And I said, well, geez, I don't know if Bill would like that or allow that. And they said, oh, well, Bill's up there drinking a bottle of wine, and, he doesn't care. So anyway, I took a chance. I didn't want to get fired or anything, so I sat in with them, and I played some of the stuff that they did on piano without realizing it, that they had a microphone hanging from the ceiling and that the whole thing was being recorded. And 16 years later, I was in New York at the Colony Record Shop, and of course the guys all knew who I was. They said, Joey, we just got a black album in called The Hamburg Tapes, Beatles Live in Hamburg. And he says, there's a sound of a keyboard or a piano in there. Is it you? I said, well, heck, I don't know. And listening to it closely, you could hear a little bit of the keyboard in the background. I didn't realize it, but the whole thing I did with them was recorded. So I actually recorded with the Beatles.
Well, that is
great.
amazing. Yeah.
Funny enough, I actually have that album. I'm going to dig it out tonight and check that out. That's cool.
Can I ask you one?
It's called the Hamburg Tapes, live in Hamburg. And,
yes.
It's really cool. And so anyway, they were an influence. As to everyone, all of us in music were inspired by them. And everybody rubs off of something off of everybody else. And a lot of people have told me that my style rubbed off on them. And I actually laid down the blueprint for what rock and roll piano playing would be in the 50s, because I had all that left-handed boogie-woogie riff. And Jerry Lee Lewis actually gave me a compliment, sort of. He's very egotistical, but of course a great artist. But we've been friends all our lives, and everybody compares me to Jerry Lee. And Jerry Lee said, "You're pretty damn good, son, but I'm number one." I said, yes, because I said you had number one songs, and I didn't. But in talking, he actually listened to my early records before he had a whole lot of shaking going on. So I actually, that rockabilly piano stuff, that became very popular, I did some of the early recordings of that before I even knew what I was doing, because I was playing rockabilly country with boogie woogie piano legs.
Wow.
That's why I fit in good with the Comets. See, the Comets had the slapping bass sound, but the bass notes didn't cut in with the acoustical bass, so I covered the left-hand boogie woogie. You could, just like Johnny Grandy did before me, you can't hardly hear the piano because we didn't use the right hand a lot. Just use the left hand doing the boogie woogie, the bottom part. That's where that thundering rock and roll, heavy rock and roll sound came from, was the bass and the piano on the left hand boogie woogie, you know. Boogie woogie, I always say boogie woogie had a son, and they called him rock and roll.
There you go. Now, Joey, back to your history back there in Germany. Did you get a chance to see Rory Storm and the Hurricanes?
Yeah.
Did you see him when
I
Ringo was
did.
drumming for him? Was that
Yeah,
when?
they had a piano player in there that was doing that like Jerry Lee Lewis as well.
How were they at the time? Were they kind of ahead of their game at the time? Because they were kind of that precursor to the Beatles a little bit. I think the Beatles kind of took it way past that.
Everybody was playing off the Beatles.
Right.
I mean, they never broke through big, and of course they didn't become hits in America. But there were a lot of groups like that, you know, and they were all good. And I always say, whatever any artist is doing, the best you can become in this business is the best of yourself. In other words, there's nobody that's the best piano player. There's nobody that's the best guitar player. And when it comes to Joey Wells, I'm the best Joey Wells. That's all.
Exactly.
So
Joey, we're going to go ahead and play another song. Joey, let's play another song real quick, then we'll come back to a few more questions. I think we're going to do one of the versions of Rock Around the Clock. So we'll play that
Okay,
real quick.
I want you to leave some time for my new Rock Around the Clock if you can.
Yes. I think that's what we're going to try to play if that's the one you found.
You can get it, Rock Around the Clock Forever, and play it on YouTube.
There are pretenders to thrones, but there is only one
And it's
king.
also
The undisputed king, Bill Haley! 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right. That was the original Rock Around the Clock from Bill Haley and the Comets. I'm going to see if Brian can dig up the new version here soon. Don't play it. But Joey, you still out there? Joe, are you still out there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Go to Rock Around the Clock Forever on iTunes.
Okay. We'll hunt that up.
That's the way you can get all three versions quickly on iTunes if you want to play them.
Okay. I know it's available on YouTube as well. We'll try to get one of those pulled up here shortly.
Right, but I think the quality is better on iTunes.
Yeah, well, actually, Tommy had emailed it to us. I sent it over to Brian, but he was trying to find it. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can tell you why it's right for me to do that. Before I pass on, I wanted to make sure that a great song like that, you younger people, and especially the 21st century music lovers, have a chance to enjoy how powerful and how great Rock Around the Clock was. And when I did the recording, Sony said I should actually do it in today's language. So I did it in a hip-hop version and a heavy metal version and a modern country version so that the young people, you know, would be able to have it in their style of music that they listen to. And I co-wrote it with the original writer several years ago when we had, you know, Happy Days used it as a theme. So I'm the co-writer of the new revised versions, and I'm looking forward that it could possibly be a great million-selling song again. It's not me. It's the iconic song and the fact that everybody in the world loves the song that makes it a possibility of being a hit today.
we appreciate it. We're glad you're part of a show today.
We're going to take a chance
My
here to
pleasure.
see if Brian's got that, or we can cue it up. Brian, are you able to cue up Rockin' Around the Clock Forever?
I don't have it.
He says he doesn't have it, but we're trying to forward it to him. So, Joey, we'll get that on here in a few moments before we call it the night. So, how many?
Tell them to go to iTunes.
Okay.
You can get it at iTunes.
All right. We'll see if he can't do that. So, in the meantime, while we're killing time here, how many shows do you do a year?
Well, our bookings are not that many. Besides playing with the Comets maybe 4 or 5 times a year, different venues, I go to France without the Comets. I have a French band. And by the mere fact that I'm one of the few remaining Comets alive, it seems like my name is strong enough and known well enough where people buy tickets to come to my show. So I go as Joey Wells, formerly of Bill Haley's Comets, and I do all the old songs that I made, and of course the Haley tunes as well. And I use French musicians, a great band that I found there by the name of Captain Joe Combo. So when I'm not with the Comets, I'm still out touring. I just did 2 weeks of France last year, and we rock around the clock every chance we get.
Well, that's good. We got to keep the fire burning. Again, the music of the past, and I say the past, I should say the music of long ago still is on fire today. That song will never die. Rock Around the Clock and others in that era.
That's why, that's why I recorded it. I know that people love it well enough, and I recorded it because I didn't want it to die.
Yeah, and we need to keep these songs in the forefront of people today, because people, again, this is going to sound shocking, but I have a music store here, and we teach young folks guitar lessons and drum lessons and music education. And I still get today, I get kids coming in here who go, "Who are the Beatles? Who was Elvis?" And I'm going, "Oh, I need to talk to your parents. I need to talk to your parents." 'Cause that's
I know.
Yeah, I mean, so we got to keep this great music that's, like I say, will always live forever. Rock Around the Clock will be around for 100 years from now.
That's what I tried to do, and that's the reason why I brought it back and I put it in the language of the young people today.
Yep. And I'm glad you did that. And that's one of the great reasons why we got you on the show, because we want to keep this great music and this great tradition going. There's too much out there that I don't think resembles music, and I think there's some fantastic artists out there. But it's funny when these modern age musicians and artists takes a classic and redoes it. Example, like Kid Rock redoes Sweet Home Alabama / Warren Zevon's Werewolves of London. Makes another multi-platinum hit out of it, but goes back to the classics that will never die. Andy?
One thing I don't want to forget is to let listeners out there know if they want to call in while we have them, on air right now, they can tune in here and call this number 845-584-1067 here at WFMC Jams. I just wanted to point that out to those listeners out there that may have a question that you might want to ask him. Also,
wait, where are you? Are you in Michigan?
No, we're here in the metropolis of Manchester, Tennessee, just
we're
outside
about an
of
hour
Nashville.
south of Nashville. Mm-hmm.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so technology today is kind of cool because we didn't acknowledge it yet, but our good friend Chris from HeatFMRadio.com is out of New York, and they're listening to us. So we got a lot of great listeners from all over the world listening to you tonight. So we're based out of an hour out of Nashville, and then we're picked up by a radio station out of New York also. So you got a double hitter going on tonight with coverage all over the world, hearing about Bill Haley and the Comets and your band.
On one
Guess what? I recorded the new country version of Rock Around the Clock in Nashville, and guess who the band was?
Who's that?
Ralph Emery's Nashville Now band. They're the ones that I recorded it for. It's his country. We did a modern country version with Ralph Emery's Nashville Now band.
Well, you picked a good one, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I was on Nashville Now.
Oh wow! How long ago was that?
Oh, in the 90s.
In the 90s.
I was on there, and I had my co-writer, James Myers, who was the original writer of Rock Around the Clock, and we were talking about the fact that I re-recorded Rock Around the Clock as a country song, So, anyway.
Well, I've actually heard
looking
that
forward
version.
to talking.
I've actually heard that version. I like it very well. I like the country version. I heard the hip-hop version as well. I have not heard the hard rock heavy metal version yet. I'm kind of interested to try to find that one, but I just recorded it.
Well, the hip-hop version, it's not, our generation and my type of liking, but it certainly is done well to translate a song like that into the modern language of today's music.
Correct. But it was done well. You did a nice job on it, Joey.
Thank you. It's very hard to bring a song up to date that's steeped in the traditional three-chord boogie-woogie rock and roll, but I got a lot of bottom in that song, the new version, and people can certainly shake it to it and dance to it.
Exactly. Okay, we got the new version. We're going to go ahead and play this real quick. So hang tight, Joey. We're going to play the new version of the song.
Okay.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're going to rock around the country tonight. Let your blue jeans on, join me home. We'll have some fun when the clock strikes 1. We're going to rock around the clock tonight. We're going to rock, rock, rock till the broad daylight. We're going to rock around the country tonight. When the clock strikes 2, 3, and 4, if the band slows down, we'll yell for more. We're going to rock around the clock tonight. We're going to rock, rock, rock till the broad daylight. We're going to rock around the country tonight.
feel the love and the truth and the honesty when you sing or say the lyrics. It's excellent.
Thank you.
And it's hard even when I'm that to keep my eyes on the road because I'm thinking of the words and what you're saying and feeling the story that you're telling, you know.
Well, you be careful. Don't be fiddling with a CD player. Just let it play.
Yeah. Oh, I do.
We better
Joey,
keep
great
quiet
job
now.
on that, by the way.
Yeah.
So, you said now people
did
can.
did you move your booty to that one?
Always, yes.
You can shake your booty to that one really good, huh?
That's right. Now you said that they're available on iTunes for people to download. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Under Joey Wells, correct?
Right. Rock Around the Clock Forever. Joey Wells, of course, is spelled W-E-L-Z.
Gotcha.
And on the album, they call me the Comet MC.
The Comet MC. Well, that's kind of cool. Joey, it's been a real pleasure having you on the show today.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your interest.
Yeah, well, like I said, several years ago, I got to open for the Comets, and I got to talk to Al quite a bit there at the shows, and it was really a great pleasure to speak to some of you guys. And
yeah,
that's a great memory that I'll never forget, and I'm very pleased to have been part of that.
Al Rappa and I have been friends for over 50 years.
That's great.
Actually, more close to 60 years. Al Rappa and I go way back, and when I was real young with the Comets, he always looked after me, and we used to room together. So I respect and love him, and he's a great bass player, and he is the director of our Comets right now. Of course, at this present time, I'm the only one from the original group, not the original group, but at least, you know, having recorded and played with Bill Haley, and Tommy Vale's been with us for 35 years. So we still have a tie with the original Comets. And as Tommy tells you, we're the longest touring band in the history of rock and roll, starting out in 55, 62 years of continuous playing and touring. So that's not bad for a band.
That's awesome. That is very awesome. You got any shows coming up that you can tell people about where they can come out and watch you guys?
Yeah, we're going to be in Kansas and Iowa in October. Tommy has a schedule, and you know, I'm running a record company. I'm the president of Canadian American Records, the label that gave you Sleepwalk by Santo and Johnny. I own that label, and I produce 15 new artists. So I'm very busy, and I don't really get the itinerary until a week before when I have to make arrangements, you know.
Oh, understand that. Joey, again, we appreciate you for being a part of the show. We're getting ready to switch over. We got a guest here in the studio to do her part of the show. We're going to play one. We're going to play one more song as we fade out with, hopefully with Joey's song. That's what I sent over to Brian to play. So
that'd be good. And don't forget that if you can to go through the records that I've made. I've made over 2,000 songs. There's a lot of great rock and roll in my discography. So I'm a lot more than just rock around the clock, you know.
That's right. That's right. Well, I will be in touch with Tommy, and we'll get some more of those recordings from him, and we'll go from there. We greatly appreciate this again,
Okay,
Joey.
good. Very good.
All right.
It's definitely been a pleasure. This is awesome, Andy.
My pleasure. I'll see you later, alligator.
We'll see you after a while, Crocodile.
All right.
Okay, Brian, can you play that song if you found it?
I don't have that one.
I'd send it, but it might be a different file. That's all right. You got one up you can pull up real quick? In the meantime, we still don't have you
That was Mr. Joey Wells from Bill Haley's Comets, giving us a history lesson. Me being a Beatles fanatic, of course, him to go back all the way back to the Silver Beatles, and possibly the inspiration for him changing the Beatles. I love hearing stories about classic American and British invasion music. We just had the whole big deal with the Southern Rock a couple of weeks ago, so now we're coming full circle with classic rock. Bill Haley's infamous Rock Around the Clock will live forever. It's that era's version of Sweet Home Alabama. It will never die. It will live forever. I don't know if you can pick a song in the last 15 years that will be like those, that will last forever and ever and ever, that kids will come into guitar shops and want to play that guitar riff. I think the last song that was kind of like a huge anthem was in the grunge era. I think Smells Like Teen Spirit was probably the last song that every kid comes in and still wants to learn how to play that, or Sweet Child of Mine, maybe by Guns N' Roses. So we're going to get our next artist up here in a second. We're going to see if Brian's got a song. I don't know if Brian's going to play a song from Joey Wells or not. We're trying to get something worked out here. So, and our artist has to change her 9-volt battery. So if everybody would like to go ahead and sponsor the show, we'd love that. All electric acoustic guitars were powered by the Energizer Bunny or whatever you want to do. So you can help us out along the line. Throw us a pack of batteries. That'd be cool. So we're going to get this artist here. She's feverishly working on her compartment. But
Awesome.
Again, we want to tell people that round 2 has started of the WFNC Jams Artist of the Year 2017. I want to thank the 32 that moved on to the second round. It was some pretty vicious voting there, especially toward the end. I thought it was pretty cool. Some of you caught on early and then caught on again and relit the fire. That's what it's all about. Get your listeners, your viewers, your fans, your family to get involved, and it's a popularity contest in its own way. So you want to make sure you try to get as many people out there to listen to you. Because the more people listen to you, hopefully we'll get you more marketable. It'll have more fun. We don't want to just hear ourselves in the garage. We want to be able to play in front of a bunch of people. So get on there and get that done. So we're in a round 2, and we've got 32 has moved on. So congratulations to the 32. You have to the end of this month. At the end of August, we will announce the 16 winners, and we'll move on. I think our artist has just broke her guitar. So maybe not. So with that, again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening. Thank you, Chris, from HeatFMRadio.com out there for putting this on. We had a great artist just come on, Mr. Joey Wells from Bill Haley's Comets. They are still on tour, select tour. So anywhere near you, make sure you get out there and see a piece of magic music history. These guys were way ahead of their time, way ahead of their day. Classic musicians, started the genre. They were part of that whole introduction of rock and roll being introduced into the United States. They influenced people such as John Lennon, who was influenced by Elvis. So they all started somewhere, and these guys are part of that invasion for us. So thank you, Joy, for sharing that with us. So, Andy, what do you got? Anything going on over your neck of the woods?
Don't want to forget about our good friend Big Country that's normally on air with us. I know he has had a rough weekend. His father passed away, so we do want to send our thoughts and prayers to Jerry and to his family.
See, I'm so awkward on Facebook about those things. You put the little sad face on there, or you like it. It's so awkward. So, Jerry, if you're out there and you're listening to us, anything you need, man. Anytime you want to call, give me a holler. If you need to meet somewhere and talk, we're family, man. I hate doing that stuff over Facebook or something. I just feel so awkward or impersonal.
Yes, exactly.
But our heart goes out to you, man. If you need anything, you need just a holler. We're there for you. Call us anytime. But we got a special guest in the house. We got one of the original DJs after Jason came on. We got the one, the only, Uncle Larry's in the house. How you doing, Larry?
DJ Doctor. I'm doing great. Glad to be here with you guys. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while.
Only going to be a short time this time, but hopefully I get back soon.
Yeah, you got to get back back east, get what you need to get done, and get back home.
Yeah.
We need you back here. It's been too long. So Larry's been part of the family for a long time. I met Larry 8 years ago.
Yeah.
The Family Music Center, when it first opened up. Larry was one of the very first customers to come in. It was kind of funny because my brother was in town at the time. My brother was in the Navy, was in the Vietnam era. And Larry comes popping in on his Harley Davidson. My brother's a Harley Davidson guy. So they started talking about motorcycles, and they find out that they're in the Navy. I think at the same time.
Same time period.
Yeah, same time period. They were in the Navy together. So it was like deja vu. They were talking about stuff in the past. And then Larry has hung with us through thick and thin with the Family Music Center and the FAM Jams and the WFC Jams now. He's part of that. We want to thank you, Larry, for sticking tough with us. Thank you. Now he's hanging out in New Hampshire, and I know he's busy. He gets up early. I mean, like when he gets up, I'm going to bed. So we don't have a lot of communication with Uncle Larry, but we're glad you're back. So we got to get you back more often.
Good to be here. Yeah.
It's
good seeing Jason again, too.
Yeah, thanks. It's always a pleasure having you back, and you know that you're still part of the family no matter where you're at.
Yeah.
We have a great guest here in the audience.
Hey, wait a minute now. Center stage. Center stage.
Center stage. Yes, we have a great artist here, Miss. I'm going to screw this up. I know it.
Kashina. Which is normal.
Kashina Sampson.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah.
All right. So, Miss Kashina Sampson.
Yes. Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
We're going to need you to get up close to that
Oh,
mic.
you need me to get closer here.
Yeah.
I'm
so
doing
we pick
good.
up your little
Is that
voice
better?
there.
Yeah.
There you
oh,
are.
hey, there I am. Okay.
Well, good.
Okay.
Well, Kashina, we're going to apologize. You've been through the whole show with us here, so now you actually get the in-house live version. So we're going to apologize to you right off the bat because you never know what's going to happen out of us.
Oh, that's
As you
fine.
saw the pre-show.
Yeah.
Before we went live on the air, you saw how
It was fun, yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, Jason didn't think it was a lot of fun, but it was pretty fun. Hopefully Brian recorded that. That was pretty good. We can't ever replay it, but that's cool. But
yeah.
Kashina, let's go ahead and have you start off with a song.
Okay.
Play one you want to play, and then we're going to get to know Kashina a little better.
All right, great. Yeah, this
All
is a song that's called Away From Here. She's crying out for freedom from the walls that close her in. And can I face the changes I have feared for all my life, all these years? And the night is dark with its stars on fire as I take flight, find my place away from here. Can I believe in a of me that's good? Can I accomplish all those things I said I would? Oh, I know I'm much stronger than I seem. If I could only listen to that voice that haunts me constantly. And the night is dark with its stars on fire as I take flight to find my place away from here. I will fly into the night, into a night that's dark with its stars on fire, and I will find my place away from here. I will find my place away from here. I will find my place away from here.
Yeah, that's a way to start off a show. Yeah.
Wow, that shocked me altogether
Oh.
there.
Yes, I mean, it was.
She comes in, she's all tiny, she comes in as a soft voice, and belts out notes like that.
I mean, and she just raised that level, and it was
Yeah.
smooth.
Very
The transition was very smooth.
Very
And
nice.
First
Well-
impression, I'll say this: I thought Stevie Nicks. This is amazing, you know. And of course the song was written well, but right as you took off, you know, that shocked me, and I believe everyone that was sitting here. But you took it to that next level with that vocal range there. That was
Ease, too.
and at ease.
Well, let's get to meet Miss Kashina here for a minute. Kashina, where are you from originally?
Oh, well, I've lived a lot of places. I was born in Korea, in Seoul, Korea.
In Korea?
Yes, and then I was in Hong Kong up until third grade. I lived in Hong Kong, and then my family moved to Connecticut, and then so I was there, and then right before high school we moved to Las Vegas. So high school on, I was in Vegas, and then I've lived some other places since then. I've lived a bunch of
Are you
places.
an Army brat? Is that what it is?
My father was in the garment business.
The garment business.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. So, was your first language? Did you speak English right off the bat? Or
Yeah,
were you
I had a British accent actually growing up because we were in Hong Kong when it was run by, England.
British owned,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Wow. So, how long were you in Korea? You moved when you were how old?
It was right. I think I went to preschool in Korea, so I don't remember it that much. I remember mostly Hong Kong,
Hong Kong.
So,
So-
kindergarten, I was already in Hong Kong.
Beautiful area over there. Was it gorgeous? Was it like what you see on TV and
Well,
massive buildings and
yeah,
stuff?
it is like that. It's exactly like that. I mean,
Wow.
it's changed now. I got to go back just a couple years ago, so that was really neat. But
And you got friends that still live there?
no, I was so young. I
yeah.
left when I was 8.
Okay.
So it was really like my friends were my sisters.
Okay. So then,
That's cool.
the garment business got your dad coming from Hong Kong to Connecticut?
To New York. He was
New
working
York.
in New York City. So we were about 30, 40 minutes out of New York City.
Okay.
And he was going back and forth doing that.
That's pretty cool. When I was in the military 51 years ago, I was
Wow.
in Hong Kong. All right, and when a sailor gets to Hong Kong, there's a couple things that you need to do, but one of them was you had to buy a silk and shark skin suit. That was big in Hong Kong back in the late 60s.
The shark skin suits?
Silk and shark skin. I had a green
Silk
one.
and shark.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you still have
It was
that?
awesome. I think my ex-wife's got it.
No. Okay. Another story for another day.
It wouldn't fit me now anyway. So.
It's okay. It's okay. Well, that's cool. So, when did your music career start to go? Was it the Connecticut time at that era, or did you already start younger than that?
No, I mean, both my older sisters sing and play the guitar, so I grew up singing with them and playing music with them, and they started writing songs at a very young age, and I didn't really start until I was really in my 20s. I was kind of a late bloomer, I guess, and I went through a rebellious phase, so I kind of, at a certain age, I was like,
phase?
I'm not going to sing with you guys anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go act in California. And I went and I did that, and then once I came to, I realized, like, no, I sing, and this is really what I want to do. So I started really focusing on that when I was about, I guess, my mid-20s.
Okay. So you went from Connecticut to California.
To Las Vegas. And then when I was 21, I moved to California.
California then, okay.
Kind of a gypsy, I guess.
And you're trying to do the acting thing? Is that what you were trying to pursue?
Yeah, for a little bit I did. I guess
you have fun? Was that what?
I mean, I didn't do much acting out there, really. But I waited a lot of tables, and
that happens.
I did love California, though. I do. I love the West Coast.
See, I've never been to California. Been over it, been around it, but never been in California. That's one place I'd like to go, at least one of them for a few days anyway. So
what brought you to Nashville?
Music.
Music, yeah.
I just felt like this is where I was supposed to come.
And how long have you been in Nashville?
For about 2 years, a little under 2 years now.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
And you've already got an album out?
No, the album is coming out August 18th.
August 18th.
Yes.
So this month.
This month. Yep. A couple weeks. 2 weeks.
And
on vinyl
as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward
I
to
kind
that.
of recorded it for vinyl, really.
Really? That's
yeah.
great. That's great.
To tape, yeah.
So, other than your sisters, what's your biggest influences in music? Because you said you grew up in music with your sisters, and you kind of went through that rebellious stage. Who do you kind of look up to as performers or songwriters or musicians?
Well, I was really excited about the earlier part of the show because, honestly, the Beatles are my favorite band. I mean, I grew up, I was kind of obsessed with the Beatles. I mean, they were all over my wall, and you couldn't get into my car in high school and try to listen to anything else but the Beatles. Like, it was a Beatlemania. You know what I mean? Me and my best friend, that's all we listened to. And even till this day, if we're having a bad day, if I call her, she's like, just listen to the Beatles. And I was like, yes, you're right. How do I forget that?
And I get that so much because I'm just like that. I'm fanatical with the Beatles.
Yeah.
Again, I love Southern rock. I mean, it's hard to beat Skynyrd. And there's a funny story about that. I got to play a tribute concert for Jimmy Van Zandt in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And there was a guy standing in the crowd of all these Skynyrd people and all these Van Zandts. The royalty family was out there, and they all got Ronnie Van Zant shirts on, or Freebird shirts, or Jimmy Van Zandt shirts. And there was a guy in the crowd had a Paul McCartney shirt on. Yes. And I gravitated over to him and I said, man, I love your shirt. And he goes, thank you. And I said, I probably shouldn't say this in front of all these Van Zandt people out here. But I said, the Beatles are my number one band. Now, Skynyrd's right there, number two, but the Beatles did it for me. And he goes, you know, me too, the Beatles are number one, and Jimmy Van Zandt's my brother.
Oh, wow.
The one guy.
Yeah.
But, the Beatles just inspired so much. Again, if you have a bad day, I'd pop on the Beatles. It's hard to pick, but right now, if you had to pick a Beatles tune you wanted to listen to pop you up, what's the Beatles tune that's always a quick
Oh,
picker-upper?
man, I'm so bad with favorites. I mean,
See, I'm the same way.
I mean, there's so many, you know.
It depends on the day.
Yeah.
Let It Be is probably my favorite.
I love Hey Jude.
And I love
I
Hey
do
Jude.
love Hey Jude.
8 days a week in my life could be, you know, I've got a
There's
feeling.
so many. Rocky Raccoon.
Rocky
I mean, all
Raccoon's
of
the
them.
only one I'm not a big fan of.
Really?
Yeah, but have you ever get to see Paul McCartney play?
I did. I saw him in Las Vegas.
See, Brian,
the
IT
MGM,
Guru, and
yeah.
I would get to go see him when he played here in Manchester. Paul
Oh,
McCartney.
nice.
In Manchester, not England, Tennessee, of 10,000 people, and there was over 80,000 people standing in the crowd watching him play. Phenomenal. So
Yeah.
that became my favorite all-time show ever.
Yeah.
Ever. If the Eagles were up until that point, then sorry, they had to take a back seat. So I'm glad you're a big Beatles fan. That's
Huge
good.
Beatles fan,
That's
yeah.
good. Why don't you go ahead and play us another tune real quick, and then we'll ask some
Okay.
more questions.
All right. Let's see. Well, I guess I'll keep that on. This is a song. It's called Greasy Spoon. Left my home in Nevada, month or so before the winter time. Drove 4 days to get here, Oklahoma through the Tennessee line. Didn't have a quarter to rub with the other dozen songs in my big dreams. No idea was gonna pay the rent, had to find me a job it seemed. So I got me a job at a mall in Par, just a mile or so up the road. Serving grits and biscuits, best in Nashville, I've been told. The folks pour in from all around, fly down on southern food. We got black-eyed peas, turnip greens, if you please, down at the Greasy Spoon. That Greasy Spoon, that Greasy Spoon. We're living it up down at the Greasy Spoon. That Greasy Spoon, that Greasy Spoon. This life ain't easy, you best believe me, down at the Greasy Spoon. We got Big James washing dishes, Sweet Pea cooking in the back, calling out them orders, she don't cut them boys no slack. We got roaches crawling up the wall, we ain't got no mop or broom. Remember, kitchen's closed by 2 o'clock, down at the Greasy Spoon. That Greasy Spoon, that Greasy Spoon. Living it up down at the Greasy Spoon. That Greasy Spoon, that Greasy Spoon. This life ain't easy, you best believe me, down at the Greasy Spoon. Oh, and endless cups of coffee, still brewing on my big dream. With every drop of that crud I grew more bitter, so it seems. One day the boss finally asked me why I've been serving up so much sass. But if he didn't like my refined approach, he could go ahead and kiss my ass. Greasy Spoon, that Greasy Spoon. They're still living it up down at the Greasy Spoon. That Greasy Spoon, that Greasy Spoon. Can't lose much when there's nothing to lose. Started rough, now I'm sailing smooth, but I'll never forget that time I spent down at the Greasy Spoon. Thanks.
I love the way she enunciated the word greasy. Yeah. That was great.
You made me want to eat
Yeah.
at the Greasy Spoon.
Oh,
Well, I
no,
kinda-
she's a powerful voice. Boy,
Yeah.
where
I
did
for-
that come from?
Well,
Did your sister do that?
yeah, I mean, we're a pretty loud family.
Pretty loud family.
My father sings. He's pretty loud. My grandmother was a singer. I don't know where it really came
And
from.
it's not so much that you're just loud. I mean, you just nailed the notes too. I mean, you got power behind your voice that we don't get a whole lot. And I mean, it's you have your own style. Musically, I can see the female Jim Croce right there.
Oh,
It was
yeah, I love
powerful.
Jim
Yeah, I
Croce.
mean, it was powerful. And you sang songs about stuff that we all can visualize, and we don't get a lot of that anymore. So thank you for that. Your songwriting, do you come up with all the lyrics yourself? You co-write?
Mostly, I come up with it myself. The only person I've ever co-written with is my middle sister, Jolana, and she co-wrote a couple of the songs on the album with me.
Okay.
But that one I did. Greasy Spoon I wrote. She co-wrote Away From Here, the first one I
Did she?
wrote.
Okay.
Yeah.
The songwriting inspiration, do you sit down with a guitar in hand or a piano and go, well, I'm going to make a melody first, or I'm going to come up with a lyric, or I'm going to write about something I heard. I woke up in the middle of the night. How do you come up with your songs? Where's your inspiration to it?
Well, I mean, usually the lyric comes first,
Does it?
and then sometimes then the melody comes afterward. and they just kind of pop into my head, some of them, and it's usually, they're all about an experience that I'm going through at the moment or just have gone through. I mean, I wrote that song as I was driving away from a job interview down in Nashville when I first moved to town at this meet and three. I left. I was like, well, that's a real greasy spoon, and I kind of started singing the first verse, and then I just kept going with it, and then I kind of sing the melody, and then I find the chords that go with it, you know, afterward.
What's a great?
What was that, Jason?
Watch it. Watch yourself.
Just ate a microphone.
Got hit with the microphone.
That was actually the first song of yours I heard. You and I did a benefit together over here at the animal shelter. I forgot the name of it. Andy, help me.
The farm. It's the farm. It's the
Oh,
yeah.
Hidden Hollow.
Yes,
out
Hidden
in
Hollow.
Irving College,
Yeah.
down in McMinnville, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And you performed before me, and you blew me away. I was
Thank you.
fascinated. It was a great set, great songwriter, great songs. No, she left right away. She said,
I don't believe
No,
that.
I had to go to work, remember? I did. I had to go to work.
that was her excuse. She took one look at me and said, I got to get out of here now.
No, that's not.
You can't blame her.
That's not how it was.
Yeah, that was Bonnaroo weekend. That's correct. Because I did that and ran right to Bonnaroo.
No, I have to admire her because she has to be really dedicated to take the risk to go all the way down to McMinnville and do a performance with this guy over here. I mean, you were really laying it
She
out
didn't
on
know
the
I
line.
was on the bill until it was too late.
My goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, I said, I better get out quick.
We know how that is, right, Jason?
Oh, yeah. Now, do you have a Facebook page or website people can go to
I
to find
do.
out more?
My website is KashinaSampsonMusic.com, and you can order my album through there if you'd like. And I have a Facebook, Kashina Sampson Music, as well.
Go ahead and spell your first name,
Yeah.
Kashina, for us so we know exactly how it's written.
It's Kashena.
Don't think I'd ever got the thing. I would have put a
Yeah.
K-E on there, so it's K-A.
Kashena, and then Sampson, Sampson.
So now, your first name, is that a old family name? or
No, my father liked Sheena Easton, and my mother wanted to name me Cassandra, so they just compromised.
Wow.
Kashina.
That's cool. It's got a good story
Yeah.
back there. So he liked Sheena Easton?
Yeah.
9 to 5, or what was it? It ended up, it was going to be 9 to 5, but Dolly Parton came out with it first. So it was My Morning Train, yeah. Yeah, so wow. So do you listen to Sheena Easton much at all?
Not really. I don't, actually.
That's okay.
I don't know why. I just never did. I never have, even though I was named after her. I've never
Yeah. You just keep listening to the Beatles. You're fine. You're fine. You can't go wrong with that.
She doesn't have Betty Davis eyes. I'm sorry, it was Jimmy Mack, and I was thinking Jimmy Mack was the other Sheena Easton song. The redo of Jimmy Mack. Yeah. That's right. That's right. Any upcoming shows that you want to talk about?
Well, yeah, I have my record release show coming up down in Nashville August 16th. It's a Wednesday, and it's going to be at the Basement on 8th Avenue. And I've got some other great people playing that show with me. Aaron Ray is going to be playing, and the Colonel's going to be playing. So we're all
Colonel
sharing.
Sanders?
No. Not Sanders. And it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, the record release show. It's going to be a lot of fun.
What time is that?
It's going to start at 8 o'clock, 8 p.m.
Okay. Is that free to the public?
It's $5.
$5 cover
Yeah,
charge.
$5.
You see all that great music. They ain't
Yes.
bad at all. Because somewhere down the road, they're going to have to pay a whole lot more to see you. See? It's
Ooh.
coming.
Ooh.
It's coming. And remember who your friends are.
I'll
Remember who your
remember,
buddy
I'll remember.
is. Your Beatles
Thank you.
friend there. You get a platinum album. We like to put it right on that wall over there for you. I'll even spell your first name right.
Yeah.
So, well, good. Why don't you go ahead and pick out another tune for us real quick and
Okay.
tell us a little bit about it.
This is a new song, actually. It's called a Work of Art. It's not on the album, but it's a newer one, and I've been having a good time playing it. So I'll just play it for you guys. Here you are again, Been too long since we last met. How you've been on my mind from time to time. Seems you're doing well, I've been doing fine. I guess we found a way to be alright. It's amazing how you knew me. Somehow you saw right through me. Found the beauty in all my broken parts. And I have yet to find another. For me there is no other. Bound together, we made a work of art. Hours we would spend till the morning light danced in. Every touch told me you were mine. And though it's hard to say, it's better off this way. And I thank you for the way you changed my life. It's amazing how you knew me. Somehow you saw right through me. Found the beauty in all my broken parts. I have yet to find another. For me there is no other. Bound together, we made a work of art. Lovers come and go. Will they ever know? It's amazing how you knew me. Somehow you saw right through me. Found the beauty in all my broken parts. I have yet to find another. Oh, for me there is no other. Bound together, we made a work of art. Bound together, we made a work of art.
Wow.
Thanks.
That was a true work of art. I'll tell you that.
Very nice. So, how long ago did you start playing guitar? Was that the same time you started singing?
No, absolutely not. I'm not very comfortable on the guitar. I started playing that about, I guess it's been about 4 or 5 years ago now. Five years.
Well, you're doing pretty good. You're going into bar chords and moving all up, and you sing with your eyes shut. So you're not even looking at the neck when you're playing most of the time.
Yeah.
So that's pretty hard.
Here
thing to do
in
for
this
a lot of people.
atmosphere, I've got my eyes closed. Usually, if I'm on stage, I'm kind of looking around at people.
My eyes were closed just
Oh,
then as well
good.
while
Oh,
I was
good.
listening to you.
Cool.
I mean, I think that happens when you kind of like transcend there for a minute, when you connect with the music. You know, you'll do that because you can start visualizing things and you can feel, you know, the words.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess for you, that's where you connect sometimes while you're playing. You can feel the words yourself and be able to communicate that. And I was feeling that as well. in
Cool.
That song.
Yeah, as a musician, you know, you can hear her, but she has feeling to the music. You know, the way she presents her voice and her guitar playing. You know, it's one of those nice feelings when you go, I can feel your music, I can feel you playing through it, versus going, yeah, she's got a good voice, she sings well, and she got the package, but when you go, no, I could feel the music. That's the difference to me. And that's why I think why we're kind of blown away with your voice. You come in, you're so soft-spoken, you're so quiet. Then you hit these powerful voices. Now, that one there, you did more vibrato in your voice than you did earlier. So it was like a whole different side of you on that. Now, you don't have vibrato all the time when you sing, do you? Or at least I haven't heard
a little
it.
bit. Yeah, I kind of do have a lot of vibrato in my voice. I guess it just depends on what I'm singing.
I'm going to say
Because it can get a
the
little
first
rough,
two-
and it
yeah,
just depends
well,
on.
You had very
what
little.
it
That one was
is.
very noticeable when
Cool.
you had that. So it's a whole different side of you. So keep doing what you're doing.
Okay.
It's working. That's very good. It's a nice side of you. Now you're doing your record release coming out. Do you have anything that is already on MP3 or something that you can get?
Yeah,
on
I've got
iTunes
2
or-
singles out so far. I have
Okay.
Greasy Spoons out as a single, and
Okay.
you can find it on iTunes, on Spotify. You can find it everywhere, where you can get music. And then another song called Wild Heart that's out as a
Okay.
single. So I've got 2 singles out so far.
Excellent. Now, are
Yeah.
you, other than the vinyl release show, which is cool, you're doing something on vinyl. It's coming back, and
Yeah.
we love the vinyl stuff. Are you doing more shows? You got a lot of stuff lined up? Are you just starting to tread that water?
Just starting to get that all going. You
Good
know,
luck
I
with that.
just
Everything
went.
in the state, or are you doing anything out of state yet?
I would love to go out of states. You know, I'd really like to get over to the UK. That's where I'd really like to get over there. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
They
love that kind of stuff that you do there.
yeah.
I know a lot of people, that's where they make their money is overseas. Here it's so saturated, and over there there's still, if you play blues or rockabilly or country or folk, they just eat that up. So, yeah, if you can get someone to get you overseas, I think you'll enjoy it. A friend of mine went overseas, Travis, if you're listening, I'm going to brag on you a little bit, but Travis Feaster, who's an artist on our show, used to teach for me back in Indianapolis, and he's a great blues guitar player. Great blues guitar player. Got a chance to go over and play at the Marysport Blues Festival in the UK, and was blown away about how people were respectful to the music and how he said the biggest two things that were the biggest things for him to get used to. One, he was playing after the Blues Festival, he played other venues to try to make his money back, because he had to pay that all out of pocket to go play there the first year, not after that, but the first year. But so he picked up little blues gigs around the UK. He goes, I played in buildings older than our country, and could not believe it. And he goes, and then when we play, he goes, he's a blues band. He goes, when we play, you don't hear a word. No one talks. No one says a thing. And you go like, are we that bad? Are we sucking that bad? And he goes, then as soon as you stop, they all applaud. They go crazy. And then as soon as they just sit there and they're so attentive to you. So, but he goes, they just eat that American music up. So if you can get overseas, they will go crazy
Yeah,
on
that'd
you.
be cool.
So if we know anybody out there that we trust that would like to help her out, boy, we got a lot of overseas listeners. You know, book this young lady. Pay for her to come over there. Don't make her pay out of her way. Pay for her.
I know a great opening act, too.
And it's not the Dingleberries. Because I know Jerry's listening.
Yeah.
Jerry, it's not the dancing Dingleberries or whatever you call us.
Now there is a group that's out of L.A. that I interviewed, and you guys also interviewed there at Bonnaroo, the Ruin Brothers, which they're from England as well, and you can check out their music.
Okay.
They just performed up in New York, Henry. And
Yeah, the Ruin Brothers are very good.
Very, very talented.
Okay.
You may want to connect with those guys there. I
Okay.
think they would like your music.
Okay. I'll check them out.
Well, good.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? Are you got the songwriting process? I know you got a lot of stuff coming up with a few shows and the record release, but are you writing stuff for the new album? Are you already in that mode?
Yeah, I am. I'm starting to get back into that mode. Just now, my brain's starting to go back into it because I can feel myself thinking like, oh, that sounds like a good song. You know, it's when phrases start going through my head and I go, oh, well, that's interesting. Maybe I should write something about that, you know.
See, that's what I think is cool about this with you guys. You guys are the songwriters of the group. I'm the drummer. I just beat stuff with sticks.
Yeah.
So I have no phrases go through my head. I hear like noises and beats. So I think it's cool when they go, a friend of ours, and I'm going to mess his name up, co-wrote Indian Outlaw. Tommy Barnes. Yeah. Tommy Barnes, Larry and I was with Tommy Barnes one night up there in Nashville, and he was talking about, he was in his car and he had the windshield wipers going on, and it inspired him to write a song, which eventually came into, I believe it was a Tim McGraw tune. I can't tell you which name it was. But stuff like that, that just fascinates me. Because I was going along and I heard the windshield wipers going, hey, that sounds, and he started writing a song as he was driving from one place to another. I think it's neat how songwriters come up with stuff like that. I keep giving hooks to these guys, and they turn me down. It hurts my feelings. And someday someone's going to record one of them. It's going to be a big hit, and I'm going to laugh on my pink Cadillac.
You squirrel in the rear view mirror. Ground squirrel. Yeah. 3 ladders and a noose.
Yes.
These are just the hits right off this poor man's head.
Midgets without digits.
Midgets without digits. There
That's
you
a
go.
great one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There you go. There you go. There's a new Rocky Raccoon right there. Why don't you go ahead and play us something else?
Okay.
Please.
I'll play you, this song's called Wild Heart. This song's called Wild Heart.
once again, very powerful. Powerful. She didn't even need a microphone. I seen Don McLean one time sing in my high school when I was in high school. Don McLean came in and sang all his hits, American Pie, but he didn't even have a microphone. He came out with an acoustic guitar that was plugged into the house PA and sang without a microphone. And you're in that same thing there. I think you could sing without a microphone. This guy's the same way. He sings volumes unknown to man. We don't need a PA system with him around. We just need it for the amplifiers, for the guitars and drums. But Jason's one of those powerful vocal
I can hear that in your
singers thing.
speaking voice. Yeah,
Yeah, he can belt them out. Matter of fact, there was a story of him. Mike Allen was playing at a venue that had multi-singers playing, and where Mike Allen was at singing and getting ready to play, Jason was next door singing, and he heard Jason. I don't think you had a mic at the time, and you're over there rehearsing. He could hear him from across the other building over there singing. So you've got that same trait. So you got to have a lot of breath control doing that. Is that something you work at, or is that something?
Yeah, I've been trained.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, since I was
lessons.
Since I was younger. How old were you when you started? I started taking lessons when I was in gosh, I was really young, in Connecticut, so maybe 5th grade. And I fell off for a little bit, you know, and then I sang all through high school, and then when I was in Los Angeles, I found a teacher who really helped me to understand how to use my voice.
Right.
Before, you know, I was having lessons, but it didn't really click. Mm-hmm. And then when I was in LA, I had a teacher named Donald E. Holtz, and he lived in Santa Monica, and I don't know what it was, but how he explained it to me, it just clicked.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Now, when you said you sang all through high school, did you actually sing in high school, like in the plays or the musicals?
Yeah, I did a lot of musicals, and I grew up watching a lot of musicals. When I was in Hong Kong, we didn't have TV, and my parents just, I guess, loved musicals. So my sisters, that's all we did was watch musicals, like South Pacific and Oklahoma and all those old musicals. That's what I grew up watching.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I grew up doing musicals in school and always singing in all kinds of ways.
I took my dad to a musical, and I didn't think he'd like it. This was a long time ago. But we took him to A Sound of Music, and he loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked, but favorite song in that one is Edelweiss. I still like that one. Jason, take it away.
Doe, a deer.
that wasn't Edelweiss.
Oh, no, I know. Go ahead, take it away.
Wow, he had a brain lock there.
Yeah.
That's hard to believe it, Jason. I figured at least an insult would have come out of there. Real quick, we want to make a quick announcement here. And I tried looking at the schedule here, but it doesn't look like anything's going on at the Palace. And if I'm wrong, and if they're up there at the Palace, don't yell at me. But we've been doing live shows from the Palace now each and every week. But it looks like this Friday and Saturday doesn't look like they've got anything coming out to the Palace. Oh, my phones and everything's beeping at me. It looks like the next show at the Palace is August the 11th. That's a Friday. Christian Davis is going live there. But then on Saturday the 12th, it's got real country music featuring Terry King and friends. I believe our friend Ober Carter is also playing that night. So Ober was here a couple of weeks ago, so he'll be performing that night. And if you can't get to the Crossville Theater, which is a beautiful establishment, make sure you get down there and check them out and see music live at that venue. It's a beautiful place. But if you're out of the area and you can't check them out live, then make sure you get on the radio, tune in to WFMC Jams, and you'll get to hear it live in its entirety. But so Ober Carter is going to get his third shot of going and performing in front of anybody. And a great guy. So we want to wish you the best. So check that out. And then it looks like they're going to be off another week, and then August the 25th, we're going to have Melissa and the fellows are going to be there. So, Andy, you got anything you want to say real quick?
You know, the one thing about this program each every Tuesday night is that we do have an opportunity to showcase new talent, some talent that's not even been exposed to the public yet. Oprah was an exceptional, singer as well. And I think we're very fortunate to have you here with us as well, because, like I say, each and every Tuesday night when you listen to WFMC Jams, right here on the Midnight Madness Show, you're going to have someone just like you that's coming into Nashville that's getting ready to release a new album, a new CD that's starting to really move around the circuit. So it's great just having this kind of entertainment. And I still want to encourage those that are listening tonight to tune in and also give us a call if you've got any questions or anything. You can contact us here at 845-584-1067.
One more time.
That is at 845-584-1067 here at WFMC Jams, which we're also the affiliate with Nashville Songwriters Radio Network. And we also want to thank Chris Cataldo up there in New York City at heatfm.com. But I was going to ask you one question, though, earlier, and I didn't get a chance to. As far as your style of music, I heard Stevie Nicks at first. You know, of course, then Mark had talked about Jim Croce as well. Your style of music when you were young, as you were developing as a songwriter, who were the particular artists that really pretty much influenced you in what you're wanting to develop?
Other than the Beatles.
Well,
I mean,
a lot of those
personally.
that you mentioned, Jim Croce. I love Jim Croce, and he's one of my favorites. And I love Fleetwood Mac, and I also am a huge fan of Linda Ronstadt. My father loved Linda Ronstadt. So actually, when I was learning to sing, I would listen to a lot of Linda Ronstadt as I was learning to sing and open up, and even like Joan Baez. I love Joan Baez and Joni Mitchell, and those are just some of the.
Now, as you've entered into Nashville, there's several venues there that you can perform individually as a songwriter. Have you had a chance to go over to the Commodore Grill?
I have. I did an open mic there a couple months after getting to town.
Yes,
Yeah.
Debbie Champion does a great job. Of course, Brian Howell, IT Guru, the amazing producer there, assists her each Sunday there as they film that live.
Yeah,
as
I've
well.
been over there.
Have you had a chance to go down to Douglas Corner, or
I haven't been over to Douglas Corner yet.
you may want to try to hop
Yeah.
in there and see Donnie Winters and some of those fellows there. I think you would enjoy that. You rightfully, deserve to be on stage with those folks.
Oh, thank you.
I agree with that. Now, you were talking about, of course, the Midnight Madness show, so that'll give me a segue to go ahead and tell us who's coming next week.
Okay, next week on the Midnight Madness show
Yes. Will be
will be
Fire and Wine.
Fire and Wine.
Yes.
Now, where is this band from, Jason? Fire and Wine.
Fire and Wine is out of Johnson City, Tennessee. It consists of my best friend, Shannon Cornelius, that I grew up with, and my soon-to-be ex-niece.
Okay, that's some Fire and Wine happening then. As well. Of course, we actually made a trip.
And then following them will be Pez. Pez will be our guest. So.
Which we made a trip. I got a chance to meet them. We all went to Dollywood together.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
And had a great time there. Of course, Jason was steaming a little bit because they decided to cut the rug and go a different direction, and I went over and hung out with Randy.
Yeah.
And
Rub it in.
So, but maybe next time we'll have the whole group be able to bump into some folks.
Andy's cousin is Dolly Parton. So he hung out with her brother that day. So
I love
that's why
Dolly
Jason got a little steam there.
Man.
So Andy Parton, so yeah. So he rubbed that in every now and then.
Andy, did I hear you say that Jason was going to cut a rug?
He's going to cut a
Top of
rug.
his head? Okay.
Now, he can do some dancing. I've seen that down at Papa Top. He can really get out there and boogie-woogie around on the floor whenever he's playing the
I don't
guitar.
know if you want to call that boogie woogie
Yeah,
or
he
electrical
can.
shocking.
What was it? That
one or the
song
other.
that James wrote about him and that guy dancing up at
Oh, we
Las
bring that
Vegas?
up a lot. Yeah, we bring that. We played Papa Top as a band 3 weeks ago or so like that, and you actually said any women that want to dance with me, because there's times when he jumps off stage, men comes up and dance with us.
Oh.
So we have to give him a hard time with that. There's actually a song called Copenhagen Kisses written about Jason at one of our venues that I witnessed live. And you were there.
I was there.
You were there, so you cannot deny this.
Well, parts of it I can deny.
Right.
The drunk part.
Yeah, I know.
Jason don't drink.
Oh.
I'm talking about even drunk.
Oh.
I've never kissed a guy, so that part is wrong. I never went home with a guy. That part is wrong.
How about the girl chewing the tobacco?
That part is true.
From a girl.
Yeah.
I'd love to kiss you, but I get to chew out my mouth.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the kind of women I attract.
That's a true Tennessee song right there.
At least you're honest.
That's right.
Well, I just sit back and just pound some sticks. Keep that away from me.
You know, I've got some great musicians in the band now. I've got 4 really good musicians, and then I got a drummer.
That must be you.
Oh,
Try the deal. Just remember when you get that stick in the back of your head.
Bus, right?
I get no respect. I tell you, get no respect. How can toast have bones? But anyways, yeah, Jason, we have a great band. Got Jerry J. Thomas and you up front headlining the vocals. We got Ronnie Davis, formerly from Moccasin Creek and Tequila Black. Phenomenal bands. Got Richard Brown from the Sound Dogs, and then unfortunately you got me. Well, yeah, you can't have all aces in the hole, can you? You wait till the next show. I don't think I don't want to say that word. I don't think I fizzled out halfway through the middle of the night at my part. Did we? Yeah, okay. Well, we kept pounding that thing, didn't we, all night long? And then somebody goes, "Oh, I can't sing." No, Jason was powering up there. So that's why we got Ronnie and Richard and Jerry in the band. And Big Country, I hope you're doing well. Again, Big Country lost his father a couple of days ago, so we wish him the best prayers and luck out there. So Big Country, if you need anything, holler at us. Here's Jason trying to grab the mic again.
It's not very often that I do lose my voice, but for some reason that night I did. But, Tashina, will you sing us another song, please?
Sure, yeah. Which one should I do? I guess I'll sing She Shines.
Okay.
Was she not the woman you envisioned she would be? Eyes of fire burning, heart wild and free. Was she not the woman you envisioned in your dream? Crystal voice that calls you, it was all too much it seemed. And her beauty does not fade. As you fall beneath her shadow down to shades of gray, and she shines. She shines. She shines. Oh, how she shines. Was she not the woman, the enchantress of the sea, the one who you have known of, the one who's meant to be? What if she could show you just how simple they could be? If you'd only let her hold you, take away our misery, and your kingdom it does fall. Picking up the pieces as you call for her, and she shines. She shines. She shines. She shines. Oh, how she shines.
Speechless.
I'd like to say I think it's been a great show with Joey Wells and our beautiful guest here. So, again, we're pleased you're Kashina.
You got it.
I didn't screw it up. You were trying to get me to screw it up. Kashina Sampson.
That's right.
I am not as dumb as I look. Aren't you glad? I do have to say, Kashina, I know a great co-writer for you,
Oh, cool.
myself.
Oh,
He's always about self-promotions.
Yeah.
He was great, and you wouldn't think that because he sings and writes music.
Well, it's coming up to the end of the show. Again, I want to thank you for traveling down here from Nashville and being a part of this tonight.
oh, thank you for having me.
Special thanks to Joey Wells out there. Had some great stories tonight. And learned a lot of some great music history. So, been a great show, one I've been looking forward to for quite a while, and I'm glad it got to come together.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have you do one more before we close the show. And
All right. Cool.
if anybody's in the Nashville area, laugh at me.
Let me just tune up a little here.
Make sure you go out August
16th.
I was off by
Wednesday
that.
the 16th
Wednesday
at
the
the basement,
16th.
the original basement on 8th Avenue.
Be sure to stop in and
It's going to be real
be
fun.
a part of the show because it's going to be a great show. I can see that already. Sounds like she's got some great people part as the show with her. So, and you get Colonel Sanders chicken as well. So,
Oh, come on now. I mean, they have to be fairly talented as well to be able to perform with her
They're
in
great.
the ranks.
They're
with
amazing.
vocals.
Everybody else is incredible that's going to be playing. Well, this song's called, thanks again for having me. This song's called Long Way Back. It's a long way back from this valley I've been in. It's a long way back from this city built on sin. And when your spirit starts to rise, they go and turn out all the lights. It's a long way back where I've been. It's a long way back. You got no one by your side. It's a long way back when your well has run dry. There ain't no rain coming down in this God-forsaken town. It's a long way back where I've been. Maybe I'm just a sinner you pull me out, 'cause I'm going under. One more whistle to be saved. It's a long way back from this valley I've been in. It's a long way back where I've been. Oh, it's a long way back from this valley I've been in. It's a long way back from this city built on sin. And when your spirit starts to rise, they go and they turn out all the lights. It's a long way back where I've been. It's a long way back from where
Kashina Sampson.
You don't get this from me a lot, but wow.
Oh.
Wow, that was impressive. That was excellent. Thank you so much for being part of the show. Thank you for putting up with us. We're glad you came down and hung out with us. A nice find. Jason meets you at a place in McMinnville, and we like I say, I love how the circles interconnect in the networking of musicians. And you're another great find. Thank you. We wish you the best.
Thank you very much.
Keep going out there and doing it. You have your own style. We compared you to a couple, 2 or 3 different people. A little bit of that Susan Tedeschi thing going on in there too. You know, powerful voice. Linda Ronstadt, you nailed it. But man, you got great songs. You got a great delivery. I love that you keep your eyes shut and you just belt it out. You just you kind of just feel it. It flows through you. And again, I don't hear you sing. I feel you sing, and that's very far and few and far between. So we have a lot of good guests that come on the show that can listen and learn from that. So all you people that are out there in the music world, make sure you check out Miss Kashina Sampson. If she's anywhere close to where she's performing, now we know again August the 16th you're doing your vinyl show, vinyl release party at the original basement on 8th Avenue in Nashville. $5 cover charge. Trust me, it's well worth it. If you don't do it now, it's going to cost you more than that to see her in the future. Trust me.
I agree with you on that.
She's on her way. She's got a career ahead of her. Anyone that's out there listening that wants to book this young lady, whether it be here or abroad, get on her Facebook page or so and try to get that line of communication. This woman needs to be listened to. So, again, Kashina, thank you for putting up with us.
Thank you very much. Oh, I had such a nice time. Thank you.
You had to hear the pre-show, which was interesting, which will never be aired ever. Even if Brian recorded it, it can never, ever be. We can't even play that on the original Midnight Madness show at midnight. We can't do that. But she put up with that, stuck through that, and then again, Mr. Joey Wells, what a fantastic story he had with us. A great music educational, a history lesson there. I thought it was cool. You got to see Ringo when he was still with Rory Storm and the Hurricanes. You got to meet. He was there with Pete Best and Stuart Sutcliffe with the Silver Beatles. This is all going to go archived, so make sure you save it. Share it to your family and friends. Make sure they listen to WFMCJams.com. Again, you artists that are out there, don't forget we got the Artist of the Year contest going on 2017. Unfortunately, this young lady wasn't with us yet to get part of that. She'd be a huge. She sure can. But we got some really great front runners up there, some powerful people. So it's time to vote. So if you voted for yourself and your family and friends voted for yourself last month and you made it from the 32 to the Sweet 16, get back on the horn, start voting for yourself. So it went out today. You got the rest of the month to continue voting. At the end of this month, I'll announce who moves on to the next bracket, and we get down to the final, which will be the final two in December Hopefully we'll have the winner crowned on our last show. Hopefully Miss Patsy Trigg will be here the final show of December, which is a weird one because it doesn't work out quite right. I think it's the way the days work out. Christmas, I can't remember, it's on an odd day this year. So, but it's Patsy Trigg, who, if you don't know, she's the fame. Her and her husband at the time are the original singers. Her grandma got run over by a reindeer. She'll be here singing for us and tell us the original story. She's done, 3 out of the last 4 years? So couldn't make it last year. Had a death in the family. So we can't wait to see her this year. So check that out. Vote for yourself. Vote for your friends. And get out there and see these people play is how it works. Again, we were pleasantly surprised. Jason wasn't. He saw her before, but we were pleasantly surprised. Yeah, so it's nice to find these finds out there. Now we introduce them to you. Go out there and check this young lady out. So with that, we got awesome Andy in the house. Thank you, Andy.
Been an excellent time.
For the Hillbilly Heartthrob, who's manning the control panels and mute stuff. I want to thank you, Jason. Thank you for the find. Uncle Larry, it's nice to have you back in the house.
Oh, thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Now you'll be here just for a short time. You're heading back to New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, yeah.
Are you gonna be
Shout out to my friends out there, Mel and John, in case they're listening and stuff, and Dave Glannon and Marty with Ed, and a whole bunch of Switch Track and a whole bunch of other folks out there.
Excellent. Now, when are you coming back? Going to be gone for a little while.
Yeah, I've got a
football season. You'll be back for football?
Maybe.
Oh, I hope so. Because Larry and I, we talk a lot of football during NFL season. So he's a big Patriots fan, and I'm a big Patriots non-fan. So yeah, you got to like the team. They're an awesome team, great coach. I'm just not a fan of the Patriots. So I root for it. And him and his wife, Sharon, she just like him, boy. They're just Tom Brady hung the moon. I just want to slap him. No offense, Tom. I was talking about slapping Tom.